Alright, so here we're going to learn about circles and angles. The three main things we need to focus on here is that angles are measured in what we call degrees, and that's usually represented by like a number, by a little circle, the same way you'd represent when you write temperature. So like that little circle right here means degrees. And 360 degrees would be the amount of degrees in a complete circle. That's how we judge angles, is we kind of say what part of a circle do they take up. A unit angle, or that should be an unit angle, or no, a unit angle is an angle that measures 1 degree or 1/360th of a circle. So one of these degrees would be 1/360th of a circle, and circles have 360 degrees. That's what we need to remember. A lot of times when they hear about like skateboarding or snowboarding tricks or different tricks where they spin in circles, they measure that in degrees. They're like, oh, I did, a 1080, which is just how many circles or half circles they did. You just add up the total number of degrees they spun over and over and figure that out. All right. So over here we have some circles, and I want to try to figure out how big these angles are. What I like to do is consider this like you're cutting a pizza, or I've seen examples and problems where they think about like a watermelon. Oh, you have a round watermelon, you cut it in half. So how big is that angle? So we're looking here, how big is this angle right here, halfway through the circle? Well, what you really just need to do is focus on this denominator. Okay, 2. All right, well, I know there's 360 degrees in a circle, and if I divide that into 2, because there's 2 equal parts, then I'll get the number of degrees in one of those two. So I do 2 into 360, 2 goes into 3 one time, 1 times 2 is 2, 3 minus 2 is 1, bring down my 6, 2 goes into 16, 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 minus 16 is 0, that's still less than 2, bring down a 0, 2 goes into 0, 0 times, this is 2 times 0, 0, and 0 is my remainder. So it would be 180 degrees would be half of a circle. And then you can come over here and let's look at right angles. That was a straight angle. Here we have a right angle. Okay, 1/4. Well, how much would 1/4 of this circle be? Or maybe we should label it like a right angle. If you remember in the lessons, you know the answer should be 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and use the area model to divide this one, 360, and I'm going to divide by 4 because that's my denominator. Okay, I know that 4 times 9 is 36, so that means that 4 times 90 would put another 0 on there. And so for 9 times 4 is 36, and then I add a 0 because I'm doing 90, and that's 360. So I subtract and I get 0, and that means that I have no remainder, nothing left to divide, and my answer is just 90. So the answer is 1/4 of a circle is 90 degrees. And we can come over here. Let's look at 1/6. This one's a little bit more tricky. We haven't learned anything about straight angles. We've learned straight angles, right angles, but we haven't learned anything about this 1/6. So again, we're going to divide 360 by 6. 360 divided by 6. Okay, I know that 6 times 10 is 60, so I could start out with there. I can do a 10 up here. 10, 6 times 10 is 60. I subtract, and I have 300. All right, bring over that 300. Oh, I saw this 30, and I'm like, oh, 6 times 5 is 30? Okay, so if I just put another 0 on the end, that would be 6 times 50 would be 300. So 5 times 6 is 30, and then you take the 0 you put on the end, you subtract, you have 0, there's nothing left to divide, no remainder, and then just add these up. 10 plus 5 is, or 10 plus 50 is 60. So 60 degrees would equal 1/6 of the unit circle. And this last one is the only other variation. You have a pizza, and you ate and it was cut into 8 pieces. You ate 3 of them. How many degrees of the pizza did you eat? So with these problems, it's 2 steps. First you think of the denominator and think, okay, eighths. Let me figure out how much 1/8 is. So you do 360 divided by 8. All right, I know 8 times 5 is 40. That would be too much. So let's do 8 times 4, but we can probably go ahead and do 8 times 40 because there's an extra 0 here. 8 times 4 is 32. I put a 0 at the end because it's 320. 0, 4, 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, so we have 40 left. All right. Well, I just said that 8 times 5 is 40. Now don't get confused. Now, I've been doing times multiples of 10, but this is just a 1. 8 times 5 is straight up, it's 40. No zeros at the end. 40 minus 40 is 0. And I have nothing left to divide, no remainder. So I'm all done. I just add up 40 plus 5. And an eighth would be a 45-degree angle. So 45 degrees would be 1/8. That equals 1/8. But I need 3. So I have to add up 45 3 times. That's what I have to do, is add that up. So let me just kind of move over here, set that up, and add it up. 45, 45, 45. 5, 10, 15. Carry the 1. 4, 8, 12. Plus 1 is 13. 135 degrees would equal 3/8 of the circle. So there's a second step there. If the fraction they give you has a numerator, you have to take the second step. First find the unit fraction, 1/8. Then add it up that many times for how many ever the numerator is.